Discover the advantage of unlimited access to all the stories and resources from IBJ and Inside Indiana Business. From insights to inspiration, business leaders rely on the IBJ for all things Indiana business. Start your $1 a week trial now at ibj.com/trial offer.
Indiana making power moves to become a leader in nuclear energy. What it could mean for investment and jobs. Plus,
we don't want to be a one-hit wonder, and we want to make certain that, we're committed to building a winning program.
we go one-on-one with IU Athletic Director Scott Dolson. Why he locked Coach Sig into a long-term deal, navigating NIL, and what's next for the Big Ten. Indiana technology making hospital deliveries, the impact Arrive AI's technology is having on healthcare. And
hey, I'm Chip. Welcome to the Edgewood Cinema 13. What movie did you come to see today?
Halloween scares giving way to silence, why an iconic Central Indiana haunted house is shutting its doors. Inside Indiana Business is next.
From Indiana's business news leader, this is IBJ Media's Inside Indiana Business with Gerry Dick, presented by Elevate Ventures, Indiana University, and Liuna.
This summit will bring together leaders from around the world to discuss small and large-scale nuclear power and the workforce in Indiana to support it.
Governor Mike Braun on a meeting of the brightest scientific minds in the world gathering in the week ahead at Purdue University to talk about Indiana's potential role in nuclear energy. Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gerry Dick. In the race to find the next generation of clean, reliable energy, Indiana is making a bid to grab the pole position, and nuclear power just could be the engine driving it forward. State leaders are betting big on small modular reactors, or SMRs, a new form of nuclear technology they believe could power Indiana's energy future and bring investment and jobs to the state, and soon. From the steel mills of Northwest Indiana to massive data centers and technology corridors emerging throughout the state, Indiana's energy needs are skyrocketing, growing double digits over the next decade, fueled in part by the AI revolution. And while Governor Braun is advocating an all-of-the-above approach to include natural gas and renewables, he has issued what he calls a moonshot goal for Indiana to be a nuclear energy leader within 8 years.
We have the demand and we have the financial input to be able to make it a reality. And so it's not about if, it's about how fast.
Energy Secretary Susie Jaworowski says Indiana can be a leader in manufacturing and deploying small modular reactors, or SMRs. It's technology that the U.S. Navy has used for more than 70 years to power submarines and aircraft carriers, but has yet to be used commercially in the U.S. Unlike big traditional nuclear plants, SMRs are small, factory-built reactors that can be assembled on-site in less time with less cost and clustered to meet growing energy demands. A Purdue University study has identified 8 current or former coal-fired plants statewide as, quote, intriguing sites for SMR technology. One of those sites, Rockport, is being eyed by Indiana-Michigan Power for an SMR facility. While still in the early stages, community leaders see it as a means to energize the economy and the future for young residents.
South Spencer is a very rural school corporation. We've got a lot of farms, which we're very proud of. There's not a lot of industry. So we do notice the brain drain. If this project comes to fruition, we're very hopeful that South Spencer High School is going to be the first school in the state with a full nuclear energy pathway for our students, which would allow them to work in the field and hopefully work here in Rockport.
In the week ahead, SMR technology will be a focus of the Global Nuclear Energy Economic Summit at Purdue, an event that will bring together industry, corporate, and academic leadership, including the chairman of the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. It's viewed as a sign of the state's nuclear energy potential. Another sign? investment, and jobs.
You'll be hearing about companies moving to Indiana, locating here for manufacturing, for deploying small modular reactors, for bringing lots of jobs here. There will be workforce development announcements, new jobs coming to the state of Indiana. These are high-paying generational jobs, really. When a nuclear plant comes to the state, there will be jobs here for 100 to 120 years, both in terms of energy and manufacturing.
We'll have much more on the Purdue Nuclear Energy Summit. Should be some news coming out of that event, and we'll have that on next week's show. Well, BWXT Technologies in Mount Vernon, southwest Indiana, among several Indiana companies currently developing small modular reactor technology. BWXT produces components for nuclear reactors used in U.S. Navy submarines and aircraft carriers. Meantime, Rolls-Royce, with a strong presence, of course, in Indianapolis, is also a big player in the nuclear energy space. The company working with the state of Indiana to build small modular reactors. And just this week, Rolls-Royce and BWXT signed an agreement to work together to move SMR development forward. But not everyone is on board with nuclear energy. Critics like the Citizens Action Coalition say there are risks, and the technology, according to the CAC, is unproven. The CAC's biggest concerns include the cost of nuclear projects and the risk to consumers. The CAC taking the position that ratepayers will bear the financial burden. That organization also concerned about regulatory processes, calling for a case-by-case review for data center contracts. Well, shifting gears now from Purdue's role in nuclear energy to Indiana University and the big bucks the Hoosier football program is driving into the state's economy. Up next, we go one-on-one with IU Athletic Director Scott Dolson, his take on what success on the gridiron means to the school's bottom line, plus the story behind the mega deal to keep Coach Cig in Bloomington.
The challenges are real.
Type 2 diabetes rising
Small
faster
businesses
among
need help.
Alzheimer's cases rising as population.
Solutions.
They said it'll never happen.
It's too hard. Nothing will change.
Can't compete.
You'll never solve it.
And we said, watch us.
Buying or selling a home is too important to go it alone. Realtors are on your side when it matters most, as local housing experts with insight that goes deeper than a set of search results. With a strict code of ethics and higher professional standards to protect your interests. And with a commitment to Indiana, standing up for homeowners and taxpayers, supporting our economy, and working for stronger communities.
Indiana Realtors, the neighbors you know, the experts you trust, will find your way home.
We build Indiana. The Labor's International Union of North America builds and maintains roads, bridges, and other essential infrastructure that make us the crossroads of America. So thanks to LIUNA members' work, Hoosiers have a better quality of life, like access to utilities, easier routes to jobs, schools, or medical care. We build Indiana for good jobs and stronger communities. The Labor's International Union of North America. We are LIUNA.
Here's what's making news around Indiana. Brought to you by the Indiana Association of Realtors. Indiana's 21,000 realtors. The neighbors you know, the experts you can count on.
Time now to check in on what the tea leaves are showing for Indiana's economy in 2026. The IU Kelley School of Business is out with its annual economic forecast. Kelley economists predicting the national economy will continue to grow, fueled in part by investments in AI and energy infrastructure. But while Indiana's GDP growth continues to be above the national average and higher than all four neighboring states, manufacturing headwinds are expected to make it tough to beat the national GDP forecast of 1.8%.
What we're seeing now is an increase in investment and productivity in manufacturing, but there are also a number of other industries that have been growing. Healthcare has been growing significantly.
As far as employment, Rogers tells us tariffs and other factors are giving employers a level of uncertainty, which could lead to a slowdown in hiring. Well, Saab's operations in Tippecanoe County, which helps produce the military's T-7A Red Hawk, caught the attention of executives from the defense industry and Boeing executives as well this week. Saab, in partnership with Boeing, produces the AFT fuselage of the aircraft for the U.S. Air Force and its high-tech manufacturing facility in West Lafayette. That opened in 2021.
Amelia Earhart was the most famous career woman of her time.
She was a beacon of hope, not only to women, but to everyone because of the times.
Amelia Earhart was a comet that shot across the sky in the 1930s and then just disappeared.
Well, the mission to find Amelia Earhart's aircraft in the South Pacific now on hold. Purdue researchers working with the Archaeological Institute awaiting additional clearance from the Republic of Kiribati before it can begin the expedition, which was set to begin next week. And the late Colts owner Jim Irsay, his massive collection of artifacts, guitars, and many other items going on the auction block, some value at more than $1 billion. We got a first-hand look at many of the items in Irsay's office back in March. IBJ reporter Dave Lindquist reporting auction house Christie's will sell the 400-piece collection next year. The Irsay family says a portion of the money will be donated to charity. Well, last week we highlighted how Indiana University's success on the football field, and it has been significant, is translating into big bucks for the school and the city of Bloomington. This week, we're sharing more of our conversation with IU Athletic Director Scott Dolson, his take on the challenges navigating NIL, the potential of private investment coming to collegiate athletics, and the priority of signing Coach Curt Cignetti to a massive $92 million extension.
We don't want to be a one-hit wonder, and we want to make certain that, we're committed to building a winning program. And certainly there's a lot that goes into that, but Coach Cignetti is certainly the kind of the linchpin to where we are and where we want to go. We really felt with the undefeated start, all the momentum, certainly other jobs around the country, what was important to us is that he felt our commitment to him and also our commitment to football. It was really important that I said to him, I remember saying this specifically, Gary, we don't want you to feel that we take you for granted, that, that it's going so well, that just because you love it here, it's going well. Manette loves it, his wife. And so we wanted to rework his contract to be more in market with where he's leading us.
Dolson on NIL and the challenges of dealing with this new business model for college sports.
You've got revenue share, which is internal in the department, which is kind of easy to understand. But then there's now kind of true NIL, which is outside the department. And the guardrails around that are evolving. The challenge is we want to maximize that opportunity for our student athletes in both ways, in every way we can. But how that works outside the department, how the clearinghouse will work, how it's enforced in terms of rules around that, are all being developed. It feels like we're changing the tires on the car while we're going down the highway, though.
And we also got Dolson's take on a new potential $2 billion deal involving the Big Ten Conference.
That the 18 schools in the Big Ten are really together trying to see how is the best way for us to maximize our value as a conference. Which also then what that does is enables us to have the most broad-based programming conference in the country in terms of what we do for women's sports, what we do for Olympic sports, and we want to continue to be that broad-based programming.
You can hear our full conversation with IU AD Scott Dolson on the latest edition of the Business and Beyond podcast. Coming up next, Indiana innovation on the move to make the job easier for healthcare workers in Hancock County. Details in this week's Business of Health.
Today, you either innovate or evaporate. We are accelerating the pursuit of progress. From the foods we eat to the heights we soar, because this is Indiana, the innovation capital of the world. We rally visionaries across industries, investing connections as much as capital, and fuel our founders from dorm room to boardroom. Fuel your innovation. with Elevate Ventures.
Northeast Indiana is on the move, and the next big conversation is happening in Fort Wayne. Join business and community leaders at Innovate Northeast Indiana, a powerful afternoon of ideas, innovation, and insight. We're talking talent, technology, and transformation. And what's next for the region? Join us at the Grand Wayne Center Tuesday, November 18th for Innovate Northeast Indiana, part of the Innovate Indiana series presented by Indiana University and Old National Bank. RSVP now at ibj.com/innovate. Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gerry Dick, coming to you this week from Northwest Indiana, Jeffersonville, Muncie, South Bend, in downtown Evansville, Terre Haute, Fort Wayne, Richmond, from one of the state's key entrepreneurial and innovation hubs, 16 Tech. Inside Indiana Business, Indiana's business news leader. Well, Hoosier serial entrepreneur Dr. Don Brown believes his next venture will lead the charge in revolutionizing the practice of medicine. Business of Health reporter Kylie Valletta here now with more. Kylie.
That's right, Gary. Dr. Brown says he's letting doctors kick the tires and test out his latest software venture called BioScope AI. A quick refresher on Dr. Brown. He's an MD, an IU School of Medicine grad turned tech entrepreneur, founding 3 software companies in Indiana, including Interactive Intelligence, which sold for $1.4 billion. His latest software venture, Carmel-based BioScope AI, is harnessing the power of AI for primary care physicians. With a simple cheek swab, BioScope AI analyzes a person's entire genome, microbiome, which are the genetics of the gut bacteria, and other inputs to give doctors the power of big data with an AI virtual assistant to make sense of it.
It's a gold rush out there. All sorts of companies are trying to apply AI to healthcare, but so far what they've been trying to do is really apply it to the medical record. So trying to use AI to help doctors understand the medical record of a person, and which is great, that's very helpful. But where we seem to have stolen the march, this little Indiana company, we are so far, knock on wood, the only ones taking that approach of applying AI, not just to the medical record, but to the genome, the microbiome, the proteome, and there are others of these big data sets.
Now, BioScope AI is first targeting concierge primary care doctors, in which patients typically pay the doctor directly, usually a subscription fee that can range from a few $1,000s to $100,000 per year. A Fishers-based startup, Arrive AI, and Hancock Health are the first in the world to roll out a high-tech delivery method inside a hospital. Hancock Regional Hospital says it's saving a nurse nearly 2 hours per day in walking lab samples or medications back and forth. Arrive AI teamed up with California-based Autonomy for the delivery robot. While these robots at hospitals aren't new, they typically require a human to load or unload them. But the Hancock Regional robot is using Arrive AI's smart mailboxes instead. In this case, temperature-controlled lockers. The company says it's the world's first handoff between robots and mailboxes, no human required. Arrive AI, which went public earlier this year, says launching the system with a local hospital makes good business sense.
It means everything. First of all, we want to develop nearby, right? It's always less expensive nearby. So that's really important to be able to have the bandwidth and dedicate the resources that we want to have for this use case is huge. And we love Hancock Health.
This opens all kinds of doors. You can imagine that we're starting just with one route, but we've already been talking today about the other dozens of routes that we could have, and let alone when we think about taking this outside the walls of the hospital, because we have campuses all over this county. How we could make things change is just immeasurable.
So they could be adding more routes, also indoors, but also outdoors. They're looking at even expanding deliveries outside the hospital.
Arrive AI continues to evolve. Back to Dr. Don Brown.
Yes.
What an amazing entrepreneur he is. How are doctors testing the technology?
So right now, doctors are running the technology on themselves just to get a feel for it. And one feature of this software is the patient dashboard. Now, this actually has a pretty cool backstory because Dr. Brown, in his 50s, decided to get his pilot's license just for the fun of it. And when he was flying these high-performance jets, they have these fancy displays. And here's how that inspired part of his technology.
On the display, you see a representation of the plane and all its systems, hydraulics, fuel, engine. And what we're trying to do is give that sort of display to a doctor for a patient. And instead of hydraulics and fuel, what you have is a cardiovascular system or a neurocognitive system, brain.
So looking at the body also like a high-performance machine.
Amazing technology. Yep. Thanks as always, Kylie.
Yes.
Time now for our Eye on Education, brought to you by PNC Bank.
Well, put it in the bank. The Blue Jackets will be gathering in Indianapolis for the next 15 years for one of the largest youth gatherings in the country. The National FFA announcing it's going to keep its convention in Indy through 2040. The event is now in its 98th year, one of the largest conventions in Indiana, drawing more than 70,000 people to the Circle City. There's a special focus on education at the event, with dozens of colleges and universities participating in the FFA Expo. The goal is to connect with students and talk about career pathways and development across 350 career fields related to agriculture.
We have to be at work to really introduce young people early to agricultural careers that are exciting. And if we can connect their passion to and purpose to a problem in agriculture, that's how we're going to continue to provide the talent needed for our industry.
The National FFA says it has more than 1 million members. Coming up next, tough times for those in the business of scaring people.
What are you doing? You need to clean up. You know this.
Why the doors are closing at an iconic Central Indiana haunted house when we come back.
Buying or selling a home is too important to go it alone. Realtors are on your side when it matters most, as local housing experts with insight that goes deeper than a set of search results. With a strict code of ethics and higher professional standards to protect your interests. And with a commitment to Indiana, standing up for homeowners and taxpayers, supporting our economy, and working for stronger communities.
Indiana Realtors, the neighbors you know, the experts you trust, will find your way home.
Today, you either innovate or evaporate. We are accelerating the pursuit of progress. From the foods we eat to the heights we soar, because this is Indiana, the innovation capital of the world. We rally visionaries across industries, investing connections as much as capital, and fuel our founders from dorm room to boardroom. Fuel your innovation with Elevate Ventures.
Northeast Indiana is on the move, and the next big conversation is happening in Fort Wayne. Join business and community leaders at Innovate Northeast Indiana, a powerful afternoon of ideas, innovation, and insight. We're talking talent, technology, and transformation. And what's next for the region? Join us at the Grand Wayne Center Tuesday, November 18th for Innovate Northeast Indiana, part of the Innovate Indiana series presented by Indiana University and Old National Bank. RSVP now at ibj.com/innovate.
The challenges are real.
Type 2 diabetes rising
Small
faster
businesses
among
need help.
Alzheimer's cases rising as population.
Solutions.
They said it'll never happen.
It's too hard.
Nothing will change.
Can't compete.
You'll never solve it.
And we said, watch us.
Well, circling back now on a story in the business of motorsports and an update on race car driver Kyle Cummins. What a success story he is. We caught up with the Princeton native a few months ago, just as the USAC sprint car season was getting underway. Fast forward to today, Cummins is celebrating a national championship.
Checkered flag is going to drop on your current USAC National Championship points leader, Kyle Cummins.
I don't think I've plateaued yet. I just keep going. So it's just like it's been the slow rise from like when I first started.
Up to the top of the car, race fans, let him hear it.
The 2025 season was Kyle Cummins' time to shine. He led the standings for 49 consecutive races, the longest streak in USAC history.
8 laps remain, and this one's far from over.
Winning can earn a nice paycheck.
Very expensive sport to do on your own and to have the right equipment and the right, just to race a bunch, right? The more you race, the better it gets.
Every lap adds to the cost of equipment, travel, and more.
Let's say we run 2 races. I'd say it's roughly $2,500 a night.
A little bit. Where'll help you?
It's the wear and tear on the tires. Tires are $330 a piece. We might go through 3 or 4 of them in a night. You got pit passes for all the team. You got the hotel rooms, diesel for the truck.
Kyle drives for Petty Performance Racing. Owner Gerry Petty also cashing in as one of the sponsors plastered on Cummins' car.
Avanti sells windows to the new home builders across the country. So having Avanti on the side of the car doesn't do a lot to help us sell windows, but it sure gives a lot of exposure to us nationally as a window company.
To an in from silver tonight. It is all about the gold for Kyle Cummins in 3. He will win at Butler Motor Speedway.
Certainly national exposure for sponsors on a winning team, a recipe for success for Kyle Cummins and Petty Performance Racing in Southwest Indiana. Congrats. Well, after nearly 50 years, the screams and scares you see and maybe you've heard here will soon fall silent. It's the end of the road for the iconic Nightmare on Edgewood haunted house, which opened in 1978 as a fundraiser for baseball and softball players at Edgewood Little League on Indy's South Side. For longtime owner Kevin Cook, closing Nightmare on Edgewood was pretty tough and very personal. His dad putting him to work to scare people at the age of 7.
I would lay underneath a table, reach out and grab people's ankles. I'd end up falling asleep. He'd wake me up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, say, "Hey, buddy, it's time to go home. We're done." And I was hooked ever since. And then about 17 seasons ago, the Little League just decided it was costing too much money. Numbers were going down. At that time, everybody volunteered their time and nobody wanted to volunteer to help anymore. So I stepped up and said, "Hey, I'd like to purchase this and try to keep it going. It's been a big part of my life." The building came up for sale. And when we proceeded to try to buy the building and that fell through, the rent's so high, trying to find a building is just outrageous. So instead of being put up against the wall, not knowing what's going to happen, we decided we were going to be done on our terms to give our customers one last season, knowing it's the end.
And a reminder, if you don't want to be touched, Nightmare on Edgewood offers a chicken ticket where you wear a yellow jacket like this little gal as well. And you can still check out Nightmare on Edgewood through November 8th. That's all the time we have for this edition of Inside Indiana Business. Thanks for joining us this week. I'm Gerry Dick. Go out and make it a successful week.
Been a while. What have you been up to?
Oh,
Oh, I see it's not flossing. I just added some secret weapons to my toolkit.
Huh?
They help me drill down further, digging deeper than I ever could before. Into my business and personal finances with Lake City Bank Digital.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Now let's take care of that tooth.
Add sharper tools for your money with Lake City Bank Digital.
You are all set, Brian.
I'm Devin.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gerry Dick, coming to you this week from Northwest Indiana, Jeffersonville, Muncie, South Bend, in downtown Evansville, Terre Haute, Fort Wayne, Richmond, from one of the state's key entrepreneurial and innovation hubs, 16 Tech. Inside Indiana Business, Indiana's business news leader.
We are bringing the power of this
to this. With a new IBJ Media app, for the first time ever, you'll be able to get the Indiana Lawyer, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indianapolis Business Journal all in one place wherever you go. All across the state of Indiana, IBJ Media provides the news you need to know, and we're doing it now directly to your phone. To be a part of this, you can find it on your favorite app store. Just search IBJ Media.
I'm Tiffany Souter, mom of four, wife, entrepreneur, and host of the Life of And podcast. For years, I built my life with brute force, a successful business, a growing family, and absolutely zero margin. I was tired, snappy, and felt constantly behind, and I was too afraid to admit it. Everything changed when I stopped trying to do more and started building systems that actually worked for my real life. If you too are craving more peace, more presence, and just more time for you, I'd love for you to join me on the Life of And. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast app or listen at ibjpodcast.com.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media podcast network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise@ibj.com to learn more.